I thought it was time that we had a look at some local history, so we're going to turn back the pages of time and have a look at what was in the Courier on the 29th of January 1915. So that's 100 years ago this week. The first thing that caught my eye in the papers from 100 years ago is the ad that appears at the banner at the top of the newspaper. Now you can still see these ads today, especially on the Courier. On either side where it says the Courier up the top, you see a little ad, and they had those ads 100 years ago as well. This week, 100 years ago, the ad was for Cabo corsets. In case you want to be part of the fashion set, you can find your Cabo corset at all leading drapers stores. I'm not even sure we've got a drapers store in Mount Barker anymore. Cabo is the live model corset, which I find very reassuring because I like to see my corsets modelled on a live model before I purchase them. Cabo corset is the one for you if you want style, fit and durability. So I must pop down to a draper's store if I ever find one around the place and pick up a corset, because then of course I will be very, very stylish in my 1915 style clothes. There have also been reports 100 years ago of a silly hoodlum in Mount Barker. Now, you know I've been talking to you when we do this history section in the Courier about the Electro Pictures, which were playing around this time 100 years ago. But, of course, electricity itself wasn't terribly common. So the power supply for the Electro Pictures in Mount Barker was a car left running outside in the car park. And I guess they just ran a cable from the cigarette lighter or something like that. Anyway, some smarty pants thought it would be a good idea to turn the car off halfway through the movie. It not only stopped the show, but it plunged the entire audience into complete darkness, which is severely frowned upon. They're a little bit stressed there sitting in the dark with nothing to do. We are instructed not to be angry at the person who did this little prank, but to pity him, as he's obviously lacking in any kind of brains or common sense. Well, I guess that makes sense to me. And of course, 100 years ago was World War One. And this year we are commemorating the centenary of the First World War. We have here a story about soldiers who are starting to head to the war front. And the first soldier, who was actually born in Lobethal, is about to head off with the New South Wales infantry. His name was Robert John Irvine Redpath, and he was about to head off to go to Egypt and take part in some training over there. Now, I did a little bit of a quick search on young Private Redpath. He was a member of the 13th Australian Infantry Battalion, and his service number, in case you want to know, is 1455. There were only at that point less than 1,500 Australian soldiers with service numbers. His service record says that he was 5'8" tall. He had dark brown hair, brown eyes, and a dark brown complexion. He went off to Egypt, did his training, and then he was sent to Gallipoli. His service record says that he died on the 7th of May 1915. At the time, he was aboard HS Gloucester Castle, which was a hospital ship, and he was put there as a result of wounds that he received in action at Gallipoli. He was buried at sea the same day. His memorial is at Lone Pine at Gallipoli, and he was 23 years old when he died.